On a tropical island underneath the molten lava moon, Russell's sitting in his little room with his little microphone in his little shoes.
Putting on the lotion, sitting by my bed. What's up, Ned?
Hey, man.
That's not how that song goes. I'm glad you started the episode off with that one. It might be the best part of this whole episode. I don't know.
Is it your tops of the episode?
A specific line from it is my tops.
Okay.
And I don't even think it's the best line. It's certainly not the best melody of the song. If you're curious, we really hopped right into this one.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Never Ending Adventure Podcast. I'm Russell. I'm one of your co-hosts. I'm discovering Adventure Time for the first time, and my co-host is
Ned, and I'm a long-time avid adventure traveler of the show. And man, we're in season 3
season
now.
3.
It's fun. Wow. We're in season 3, episode 2 this week, and I'm going to butcher the name because I did not take Latin in high school. Morituri T. Salutamus. Which means
that's got to be right? Close enough.
I think it's right. And then, Latin nerds can grill me on that, but that's why they're Latin nerds,
Sure.
But it means, for we who are about to die, salute you.
I love it.
It reminded me, I can't, it's a gladiator thing. It's taken from like Roman context, but I can not think of the song like, for those about to rock, we salute you.
I was trying not to make that reference because that is exactly what popped in my head as well.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's our
good
culture.
Episode, Ned. I did this one. I had a lot of fun checking out. I mean, who doesn't like a Gladiator episode or a Gladiator movie or something?
I was going to ask you.
This one.
When was the last time you saw Gladiator, like the Russell Crowe movie?
Oh, what a movie. I haven't seen that in a while. I really enjoy Gladiator. I think, what is his name? Joaquin Phoenix is phenomenal in that movie. He really makes you hate him.
Yeah,
that's what you want out of a villain.
Yeah, the villains that portray like somebody that you just love to hate are like movies that you end up loving in general.
The scene where he goes up to his dad.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, what'd you say about the Fight King?
No, I said that's kind of like, that's probably why this episode is good, is because like the Fight King's pretty easy to hate in this one as well,
Yeah, easy to not like. He's really not that bad. He's not the worst villain we've had, or he doesn't really bother me. He's not significant in any way. It didn't really stand out. But to back to what we were talking about earlier, the song Sitting by the Ocean or whatever
we'll
it's called.
Back to tops.
Yeah, let's go back. It's the tops for me. On a Tropical Island, I believe is what it's called. The line is putting on lotion, sitting by the ocean, rubbing it on my body. I'm about to go to the beach, and I just can't wait to be singing that and annoying everybody around me. Putting on lotion, sitting by the ocean, rubbing on my body. Like, it's going to be so great.
It's catchy. There's a lot of Adventure Time songs I feel like that don't catch it because they come across as like overly improv. And this one like came across as like Jake's definitely sung this song before.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is very canonical for him. The best line though of this song, because of the melody, is "Get me out of this cave."
Yeah,
because it's nothing but a gladiator grave. Like, love that melody, and I think I might have messed up a little bit, but I'm just not a singer, so shoot me, I guess. Don't shoot me, please.
Don't do that, please.
But that was my tops, and the melody right after that it's going to be so hard to find a song in this season that tops the Tropical Island song.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to like think of other episodes in this season. I haven't like looked ahead too much already, but if the only thing that would top it is if we get some more like really deep Marceline songs, and there's some really deep Finn songs. Some of the deeper Finn songs really don't come until later. So I think this might take the cake for best song of the season, though.
It does. It's very like, I don't know. It's a weird contrast between this song and the rest of the episode, it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. Like it is the tops of the episode, but at the same time, Jake's whole arc, like the B plot of this episode, feels a little weird and a little unnecessary.
I had a thought kind of, this reminded me of season 1 Party Animal, just almost in a different setting. Like when Jake is kind of doing his own thing, and it's like kind of immature, and it's more him just like wanting to have fun. And it does, like, it's a little different. Like in Party Animal, Jake did want to help Finn, but kept getting distracted. This one, Jake's like, hey, you just do your adventure. I was there for the beginning of it. I'm just kind of done. Like, I think he just was kind of done. He really probably rationally didn't think he was actually going to hit lava and that was going to save them. I think he was just like, oh, no, I freaking lady leg crushed a gladiator to death. I'm done. That's all the fun I wanted to do.
Yeah, he did all he needed to do. He's like, Finn, you can take this one, until he saw the palm branch and all that. We'll get into it as we keep going with this episode. Ned, you already nailed my sexy character of the episode, though.
Jake's legs.
I want to have your baby.
Jake's legs. Yeah, it's like not even Jake. It's just his legs. I just want to go ahead and say, sorry, Mom, but Thunder thighs. What can I say? Thunder thighs.
That's a good. I didn't even think about sexy characters of the episodes. That's a good choice. Because my note was like, I appreciated it, but I remember how much you didn't like Jake's lady legs in the Sir Slicer episode,
But were they not my sexy of that episode as well? I think they might have been my sexy.
They might have been
character of that episode as well. So maybe I did like them because of Patrick's legs from SpongeBob. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. That's my sexy character. I'm not proud of it. It's not really doing anything for me, but I could see why it would do something for some people. So not yucking any yums.
You're just a big legs and bums guy.
Well, if you're into the butt. I don't know.
If you're into the butt. Oh man, I don't know. I was like, it was great, but it was still a little creepy. Like, I don't know. It just gave me a feel there.
Let's get back from the sexy a little bit and let's go to the cute. I feel like that's a tier, not down, but maybe to the side, right? The hedgehog creatures at the beginning of this episode.
Hedgehog creatures
are adorable.
Got my lovely of the episode.
Give me some sugar, baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to tell me why.
I don't know. It was just like, you kind of not expected that. And even as the scene as a whole, that they were being rescued from a hamburger monster. So my mind could go was just the epic battle between little hedgehog creatures and a giant hamburger monster. And I was like, I want that episode separately.
A little more context would be nice. Yeah, they were adorable. They were almost my lovely of this episode.
Yeah. So who got your lovely then?
Our boy, Jake the dog.
Jake got the lovely.
Again, like, I feel weird. I feel like the song is not really, it doesn't really fit in this episode, but at the same time, I just love it so much. And so I'm happy it's there. And I think the reason he got my lovely is the whole episode basically was about him not sticking to Finn's plan. Mm-hmm. In a way, right? And then in his song, and in the Tropical Island song, he says, if I stick to the plan, I'll turn into a lava man. And he just has his own plan. He's like in his own world. And that was never the plan, Jake. The plan was never for you to actually turn into a lava man. Yeah. But I'm glad. I'm glad that was his plan. And I'm glad he brought us that incredible song.
Yeah. I mean, well, it goes to show, like you said, it's him living in his own world. But if you think about it, the episode's kind of dark, like, to an extent, and it really needed something that lived in its own little, like, it was almost hard to bake in some comedic humor and lightheartedness into the situation going on above ground, like in the actual arena. So I was like, hey, they have like a almost totally separated comedic and lighthearted approach to it. And pretty much everything that happens outside of that's like dark, death, like these gladiators crying, like, and it needed that Jake aspect,
They went fully into the contrast for sure. I don't disagree at all. And what you were saying earlier, like the Fight King, I just don't see him as intimidating. I think it is very dark. What he's doing is pretty incredible as far as the writing is concerned and and what this episode does. But Fight King himself, like, I'm just gonna like they call his bluff immediately. They know it's a trap, but they're too pumped for the opportunity to adventure and do a gladiator episode, right?
Yeah, the adventure didn't feel like fighting a villain. It really did feel more like a dungeon, one room of a dungeon type deal.
Totally. What's the point, Fight King, is my question. Like, what is his end goal? What's his purpose? Is this really, is he really living a satisfied life by sitting here and forcing these gladiators to fight to the death and then fight each other's, like,
Russell's is worried
companions?
about the Fight King's happiness. And is he really, fulfilled?
I just don't think he's fulfilled. I think he's wasting his life by being a total jerkwad.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I think that's just a matter of the fact. But, that was his entity, his little fight demon, whatever he was,
I hope he learned a lesson.
He also, was scratched up and his eye was sewn shut and he looked like tattered and beaten. So he obviously had fought a lot. And maybe it was like
he had to get that sword somehow.
Yeah, I think at some point, I think his whole mantra is like life is about fighting, like fight for the sake of fighting and everything like that. And that's what he kind of bestows and possesses Finn with. But it's interesting. It's kind of like he's not fighting anymore. He's just enjoying watching others fight. So maybe he used to be a gladiator. Maybe he is too old to even get out of his chair anymore. And that's where he's like, okay, I'm going to use my magic powers to cause chaos in the world now and not actually. Because, it would have been cooler if he was actually the final boss. You have to defeat me. But maybe that's a little bit too straightforward.
The twist is great. Yeah. The twist is great, and it makes sense with the torment that the gladiators are going through. But I would have loved if he had been like a ghost of a king from the Roman, or it was the Romans, right? Or the Greeks. Jeez, I'm so I know.
Yeah, the Romans, for sure.
The Roman Empire, right? And he was a king who used to force gladiators to fight, and maybe he died in the arena or something like that. And so he was forever stuck in that world. That would have been a really cool aspect. I don't know, but I am curious.
Almost like if they broke the sword, they would have broken a curse, and he would have been like, "Oh, thank you. I've been stuck there for 2,000 years, having to."
It was a curse of some sort. Yeah, but it was some sort of a curse.
But yeah, I think you're right though, in the sense that if it was the curse was broken and he didn't just Indiana Jones seize up like a zombie. If he was oh, you lifted the curse, thank you so much. Similar to the other ghosts. If he was part of that little aspect, it would have been really cool. I didn't even think about that. So that's a good thought.
Well, what do you think that death, what's going to happen to them? What do you think that death is going to do with the Fight King and all the gladiators?
I don't know. I know that the Colosseum at the very end, you see it kind of gets sucked away. So
it all kind of goes up.
Yeah.
Right. But in a weird, obviously heaven and hell are not literally above and below us, but I don't know. I was just confused by that.
If we think about Adventure Time lore, he's going to a dead world more than likely. You will get there with you, but he's going to a dead world and probably not going to be a good one either.
Yeah. You think death is going to have some punishment for him?
Oh, I think for sure.
Okay.
And I would say death in Adventure Time lore would have more of a punishment for him because he prevented other people from going to dead worlds. He was holding their ghosts, their spirits from actually ascending to the next, quote unquote, next life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there'd have to be some punishment for that.
I wonder too, so the gladiator ghosts, what is your understanding of this? Do you think that when they were coming alive and they were saying a phrase or two, that was clearly remorse for their prior actions? Was that them saying it as, we only get to talk to this other person that I killed once in a blue moon whenever someone comes into this arena? And so my only words I'm going to say are, I'm sorry, I killed you, my fault, et tu, Brute, that sort of a thing.
Yeah. Well, good question, because I tried to think really deeply on this and was trying to make sense of it, because it seemed weirdly oh, this kind of seems maybe lame for a second and a little over dramatized. But I tried to be like put it in a big picture scope and say, okay, the Fight King's trapping people in here, and the story of Finn and Jake in this episode is they're fighting together. They end up separated, and the Fight King possesses his champion per se. So what my theoretically speaking of this episode is going to be is that they come in as a pair. The Fight King chooses one of them to be champion and gives them his like death blessing, gladiator blessing, whatever. That they get possessed and they end up killing, their friend, aka like when Finn like tried to smash up Dirt Jake, and then they essentially the curse is lifted and they're just trapped forever still. But when the curse is lifted, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what did I do? I killed my friend." But
they were definitely apologizing while they were ghosts when they were fighting Finn.
But they weren't apologizing to each other. So I think what ends up happening is like maybe they're stuck as ghosts until they receive forgiveness for their actions for killing their friend. And
so I almost took it as they were apologizing to each other, because I think at one point he mentions the names of two of them as he summons them, and then they might have said the opposite person's names, and I could be wrong on that, but it seemed to me like here are a couple of things that were said, right? And some of their injuries supposedly matched, according to I looked it up on Wikipedia, matched the weapons of their partner. But Hyperion, I'm sorry, and then the opposite was, and I'll kill you for breaking your promise. And then so the promise maybe being like, we're not going to fight, whatever. And then maybe as they had the palms, they were and granted the power of the Fight King or whatever into the aggression as you talk about. And then the Etu Burrus or whatever, I believe Burrus was the one where I was thinking, I'm pretty sure they mentioned that one of them's name was that. But it was interesting. I looked up a lot of those phrases in Latin, and I also tried to look up cum mission, my friend, which means don't fight, but I spelled it wrong, and it brought up a bunch of porn. So
not a
be
lot
careful
of good
with
that
one.
No, that's probably a better theory than mine for sure. And I'm trying to think about it now. Maybe it's not like a get the forgiveness thing, but maybe that's also like the Fight King's like personal hell is that they always have to like fight with the person that they killed and like relive killing that person over and over again, and it's like a looped cycle of a personal hell or something.
I think that's like the one moment they have to talk to each other is when they're back alive fighting someone.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. I like that theory. I'm going to stick with that. You get the theory of the day.
Thank you. I actually have another theory later, which might blow your mind.
Oh,
so stick around for that one.
We'll have to see. Well, while we marinate in what's coming, we should definitely take a little quick pause, a little breather.
Hi, I'm Manish Man, and I'm here to tell you about Gladiator Raw this Sunday night on pay-per-view. Come on down to the Coliseum Kingdom and watch your favorite fighters in a battle to the death. First up on the agenda, we have Fat Legs Marcus Aurelius versus Sinbad the Sinful Sailor. Second on the list is Julius Jiggler versus Alexandra the Alright. And lastly, we have Hercules of Hatred versus Scott. So come on down, get your pay-per-view, come watch it live, get a big old bowl of popcorn, and come watch some Gladiator Raw.
Welcome back, fellow travelers.
Welcome.
Ned.
To the Gladiator Arena.
To the Gladiator Arena we go. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. What day was it?
Whatever. Well, I think it was Sunday.
We had a recording or two. I think it changed what days it was.
I was like, Sunday Night Raw this Friday.
Well, yeah, man. As I mentioned earlier, Jake's got a problem sticking to the plans this episode.
Yeah.
His plan was to dig for lava and form a molten hula hoop for morale to make the tomb as fun as a tropical island. Ned, it just feels impractical to me. Does it not?
Yeah, well, that leads into my Jake mistake.
Making big pancakes.
Literally was not, the whole concept. It was like hula hoop for morale. that was the mistake. And I was like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know if Jake just like had a really good day hula hooping the day before this, and he's like, we need to up the morale here. I don't know if it was something strategic to try to keep the adventure light, but it really didn't seem like it was going anywhere.
I don't know. Hula dancers have the answers, though.
Yeah,
so
I don't
maybe
know.
they have the answer to a morale boost. I'm not really sure about that one.
That or specifically a lava hula hoop being something that really raises morale. Like, is this something that we've Jake's already has somewhere in the treehouse? Like
the hips with the legs that he has. I don't know. Who knows?
But that does lead into a kind of a deep thought that I had behind this episode, because we've really had a few episodes where we've talked about Finn and Jake's dynamic and the different ways that they handle adventuring situations, dungeons, whatever it might be. And I thought this one was very similar to other episodes where we've talked about Jake doing his own thing and Finn learns a lesson. And is it all secretly in part of Jake letting Finn have an adventure and Finn learned something? And I almost was like, oh yeah, this is the same episode as like everything we've talked, but this is very different, I think. Because I think that Jake's just like, there's no apparent danger here. Finn just like wrecked these ghosts up in round 1 on his own, like super easy fight. I think Jake just is legitimately like, okay, I've had my share of the adventure and I'm just going to sit out for this one. And you can see Finn's kind of bummed from it. That Finn really wanted this adventure to be more about fighting as buddies, doing it together. Wouldn't that be so cool? And not as much, hey, just like fighting gladiator, like fighting an easy fight isn't that fun unless you're doing it with your buddy. So that's, again, it's why it truly is my Jake mistake of the episode, is Jake should have had kind of some sort of like foresight to go, I don't really want to do this, but I'll do it with you because I realize how important it is for you to do this together, And maybe that's thinking way too much into like what Finn's feelings were about it, But I don't know. Like, what do you think about that?
I think that's interesting, Ned. I think it does play a little into what I would say my theoretically speaking for this episode is Finn as a master strategist. I think it stems from the Real You episode where Finn wears the glasses of Nerdicon to devise the ultimate science barbecue for Princess Bubblegum, and he ends up creating a black hole which is destroyed by a fourth dimensional sword after Princess Bubblegum removes the glasses from Finn's face. So my theory is that the glasses had a residual effect on Finn and have opened up his mind to new capabilities. Here he predicts that Jake will not follow his plan and that he will be able to overpower the Fight King spell, and that his acting will grant him the sword, which he then destroys, saving the day.
That makes sense. No, I like that theory a lot, because I think the thing that backs it up big time, even within the episode, without going, I think Glasses of Nerdicon might be a stretch for like the residual effect, but I do think maybe it's more of like a Finn becoming a better adventurer, and literally that even stupid little dungeon type side missions like this one are really well thought out too, and we're getting a little bit less gung-ho into an adventure. But in this episode specifically, what really backs up your theory here is that they predicted, they're like, this is a trap, this is probably what's going to happen, we're probably going to fight Gladiator Ghost, and all this stuff. And the fact that they even said that from the beginning, maybe Jake only got about that far into his foresight of what was going to happen, and then was like, oh yeah, like then I'm just going to dig for lava. And Finn's foresight was like, there's going to be this trap, there's probably going to be a possession aspect of it, there's probably going to be some sort of eternal damnation aspect to it. So I'm going to ready my mind.
Anger is going to take over me, yeah.
And then how do I use the Fight King's possession spells against him? And so I think you're right. I think it is technically the plan was thought up like before they even got in.
Yeah, I just don't really, it's just a theoretically speaking, saying that maybe the glasses of Nerdicon are still affecting him in some way.
Yeah, I agree
not,
that foresight in that episode of Finn writing down, here's how I'm going to make everything chaotic and everybody fear for their life and everybody else so scared, and then come in as the, hey, it just randomly turned out all right, but Finn had been technically planning it all along, you know?
Yeah,
So
it just
I
so
feel that
happened to work out that way.
it's a good theoretically speaking because you're like, this has happened. This literally has happened before, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, where he planned it all out and he had a bulleted list, saying what was going to happen, even down to Princess Bubblegum taking the glasses off. It wasn't nearly that construed or just ridiculous this episode, but
Yeah. Well,
certainly
the
pretty cool.
gladiators and the Fight King are a little bit more, I don't know, predictable of an adventure than fourth dimensional black holes, you know?
Yeah, totally. Man, the branches of palm, I had to look that up. I was curious what that was all about, why he was being granted palm branches. And even then, I don't know if I really understand why Finn had to eat the branches,
I
unless
don't
you
think
have
he
a
had
better
to
idea
eat the
about
branch.
that.
I don't think eating it was, I think was to help better his case to show that he was freaking crazy. Even though he wasn't, he was like selling it, you know?
Yeah. So in Greek mythology, though, they symbolize victory with integrity. It's a symbol of Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. And Romans also bestowed palm branches to celebrate military success and winning athletic achievements. So that
Interesting.
makes a lot more sense why he's being granted palm branches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes in with the Bible too. When like Jesus rides into the city and they all lay down palm branches. Like, I think, isn't it supposed to be because again, Jerusalem was part of like the Roman Empire at that time. So was that like a similar type Roman custom that they were doing there?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not really
something
sure.
like that. But it's cool. It's it fighting with integrity, and yeah, the symbol of like a victorious athlete. Because I almost decided to go into. I decided not to. I should say. Of like, what are my top 10 gladiator facts? And I was like, that'll be really boring. Did you know that
we've
women
done
could be
worse.
gladiators? Did you know that gladiators were actually like celebrities? And I was like, okay, if we just go off into a gladiator speech, I think people get super bored.
Which brings me to everyone's favorite segment, Russell's top 3 fig facts.
Okay. I was going to say, if you could create a fake fact about gladiators?
Palm branch facts. No,
they used to kill each other with palm branches.
No facts this episode.
I have a couple of them. I've nothing that I don't think.
Nettie's factoids.
Oh, well, thank you.
Is that what we're getting into?
We're getting into just a couple of them. Not really what they could have brought in with some gladiator lore, Colosseum lore. They could have had some cooler references, in my opinion.
Okay.
But you were right. The first fact I had is that it was like confirmed that the gladiators had the wound marks of their like counterparts. Like if you had a sledgehammer, there's like a sledgehammer out of your head.
I looked it up.
The Fight King's sword reads "To fight is to live" in runic code, not in Latin though.
Fascinating. What is runic code? Do you know? I'm not sure if I know what runic code is.
I think it's like listeners, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like a super ancient, like more Viking-esque, like Germanic type language that was written. And I don't think it was spoken. I think it was just written. But correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, cool.
The sound that Jake makes when he builds the dummy version of himself is the respawn sound from Guardians of Sunshine. I was like, oh, that's kind of a fun little like callback. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
When Finn asks the Fight King for the bigger sword, the Fight King yells "Finish him," which is just a callback to Mortal Kombat and be like, "Finish him." And then Finn speaks a lot of Latin words in this episode. When he's kind of like slashing through everybody, it's, like one is like "be gone" and the other one is "parry." And that, in my opinion, I left this as the last factoid because I kind of thought it was another, like, it kind of proves that he was somewhat possessed. Otherwise, like, why would he know these Latin words? So he was in control the whole time, but I think him yelling in Latin does go to show that there was something in him that was like in kind of making him go crazy for sure.
I was wondering when he started acting. I think that was the question, to my theoretically speaking. At what point is he acting? At what point is he having to fate the Fight King? Because he kills a fake Jake, right? I think he's only able to do that because he knew it was fake. He was aware enough, because I think even in his possessed mind, I think killing Jake, quote unquote, would have stopped him. It would have knocked him out of it, right?
Yeah,
I
if he
think
actually thought
he might have
had
been
done
acting
it.
before that even.
Yeah, I think I couldn't tell, and there's probably not an answer to it. I would imagine that
No,
it was kind of just
I
like
don't think so.
not a deep enough episode to where there was some sort of moment of on or off. But yeah, I think him speaking Latin, though, definitely proves it wasn't all just an act, for sure.
No, totally. Yeah, the abet means be gone. Aludere, which I'm probably saying both of those wrong, means parry or to parry.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. I liked that. I thought that was a neat little detail they threw in there that was totally unnecessary, but made the episode a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I agree. Well, speaking of fun, I just had to ask in general, if you were a gladiator yourself, like what would be your thing? What would be your like weapon / fight style of choice?
Can I have a katana?
Dang it, that's mine.
But that's not gladiators. That's
I know, but
way
I guess
not
I was like,
gladiators.
I would for sure dual wield katanas, but
Dual wield katanas.
yeah.
I think there's a sword slightly smaller than a katana that would make more sense for dual wielding, that samurais also carried. I can't remember what it was called.
No, don't even want it.
You want
full scale katana,
full size katanas that you're going to dual wield. Okay.
In Roman Empire gladiator times.
How heavy is a katana? That's what I want to. An uchi katana, which is the classic samurai sword. Let me just maybe do a little research.
Do a little research on your uchi katanas, but I mean, it's two headed. No, it's in theory, and they're meant to be two-handed weapons. So
yeah, you could do that. 1.2
you would
kilograms.
Just look a lot
fine.
cooler. It's my Elden Ring character has dual wield katanas, so I was like, I want to be that.
So Ned's got insane dexterity.
Exactly.
If you're doing a never-ending adventure D&D campaign, which I don't even know how that would work. Ned's dexterity level is through the roof with those dual wielding katanas. I dig it.
It's true. 99 dex for me, for sure. For all my Elden Rings. For all my Elden Ring fans out there.
The flail seems kind of useless, but I've always kind of dug the way it looked. It's so unique of all the weapons out there, that, especially in Gladiator world. There's nothing quite like the flail.
I can't. I in theory, in games and even concept, I've never been a fan of the flail.
I've never used one. I just think they're really cool looking.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say they're
I think
not,
it's totally impractical.
Yeah, it's very impractical. So if you won't let me have katanas, then I think I got to go with dual wield small swords. So
okay, I'll probably go with a broadsword of some sort.
Just straight up William Wallace style,
like a long sword. I don't really know. Is a broadsword a long sword? I want a small shield, a small like easily movable shield, and I want a sword in my other hand. I want that classic gladiator vibe going for me. No cape though. I don't want a cape. I feel like capes are a great way to lose your life. I mean, what's her name from The Incredibles would agree.
As for sure, Edna Mode.
Yeah, Edna Mode. Ned, all right. Well, I got a little theme here.
Okay, give me your theme. Not a lesson.
Not a lesson, but you had a Finn and Jake kind of theme going on. I've got a similar thing. My theme for this episode is that there's a power in knowing someone well. I'm not really sure how to describe that, what a better word for that is. But I believe in this episode, so Finn knew Jake's weakness of not following the plan, and he could have, if he wanted to, exploited that in order to save only himself. He could have totally forgot about Jake and gotten out of there by knowing Jake's weaknesses, just like the gladiators that killed their partners. I think each one of them knew the other person very well and knew their weakness, and then they took advantage of that and killed the other gladiators. So in the theme of the power that comes from knowing someone well, I think there's something special about letting your guard down and letting other people in. And that's why the people that you love can hurt you the most. And that's why it's so hard for people to let their guard down once they've been hurt before.
Yeah. Well, so are you also saying like maybe like you think Jake's going to be a little bit more careful around Finn now, like because of this?
No, I think Jake Finn didn't take advantage of that weakness, right? Like Finn took advantage of the weakness in the sense that he knew what was going to happen, and therefore he saved both of them by planning for Jake's weakness. What he could have done very easily, though, is exploited it, killed Jake, and saved only himself. I don't think
Yeah, but
Jake has
see,
anything to worry about. I'm just saying that there's
yeah,
something very special just in general about knowing other people and knowing their weaknesses, you know?
yeah, I agree.
Um,
But I also know that like maybe if Finn was like truly possessed, then yeah, he would have done that. But he
yeah, sure.
would have never gone into a situation.
Well, I don't think he
And the
would have.
more
This
that
isn't really a theoretically speaking. This is just kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
hinting at the themes of the episode. But what I was going to say is there's another side to that coin. However, where the strengths that come with this vulnerability, the vulnerability of knowing someone very well, and by being vulnerable, you allow like true relationships to foster. I feel like you and I, you know, getting drinks and pizza together, you know, when we first moved up to Nashville, we spent a lot of time letting our guard down, right, and chatting and getting to know each other. And I know Finn and Jake have had plenty of pillow talks. I mean, pillow talk in the dorm with your roommate is a great place where that happens. And
yeah.
the summarize of this, or the positive side of this vulnerability in my mind, is that the sum of the bonded partnership is far stronger than the sum of two strangers.
Okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. I see what you're saying there is that they're like the knowledge of it is Finn's knowledge of Jake and kind of who he was and being able to predict the whole situation like was powerful enough too to where he could like manipulate. He knew exactly what Jake was going to do and thus used it to their advantage as well.
Yeah, he did. And every other episode we've ever seen, they use each other's strengths and weaknesses to their own advantage. I mean, Jake's suit is a great example of this. Like they would not be able to pull off Jake's suit if Finn was not fully aware that that was possible and that we could make this happen. And this is a good strategy for taking care of
Yeah.
whatever we're about to fight, you know?
Yeah, well, I like that you brought up that point too. I think that goes along with if my like lesson and kind of theme that I was talking about earlier, with Jake kind of letting Finn off go do his own adventure. He didn't really want to, but it kind of reminded me like more of like a real life situation where like hypothetically speaking, I've got my wife Jackie. We love to do stuff together, but obviously you may not want to go do something sometimes. So hypothetically speaking, like what if I was really hype and I was like, dude, we're going to go to Lowe's today. We're going to do a shopping at, home and garden center together. And I got really pumped because I thought I was going to get to do that with Jackie and she was going to enjoy it as well. And Jackie goes, oh no, maybe today I want to take off. I'm just going to stay at home and chill and watch TV. You can go to Lowe's, get what you need, have a good time, whatever. I wouldn't be mad at her. It'd be like, you just told me what you wanted and it wasn't bad and you don't have to come along with me. But I'm somewhat kind of hurt by it and somewhat kind of like, and not hurt, but per se, but be like, hey, I'm a little bit bummed that something I was hyped about doing together now we're not. But that ties along with your theme there, I think, in the sense of like also knowing somebody. Like Jake should have kind of picked up that when Finn seemed really bummed that Jake didn't want to do this together and follow their kind of like duo fight gladiators plan, Jake should have kind of had the, I don't know, what do you call it, situational awareness that, okay, maybe I will just go help Finn. Maybe I won't go and dig for lava. This is more important to him than digging lava is for me.
True. I'm a little grateful that Jake didn't see it that way because he made for my tops and my lovely of this
Yeah,
episode.
we got a good song out of it. He
as
coulda
a
sung-
viewer, I'm glad he didn't. But I agree. I think if he was being thoughtful, or if this was a situation that really would have mattered, I think at the end of the day, like sometimes going to Lowe's or fighting this gladiator fight, this wasn't something that he knew was very meaningful to Finn. And if he thought at all that it was meaningful, I know we both know that he would in a heartbeat drop what he was doing in order to go with Finn to fight
Exactly.
those gladiators. But
Well,
he
at a
knew this
bare
was something.
minimum, I think at a bare minimum, Jake's learned a lesson in the sense that even if Finn's going to go take charge or, be the lead on an adventure, that he still's got to like watch his back. That means that like he doesn't get to take the day off when Finn's going to take the lead. He's still like, because he kind of pops back up and he's like, hey, I hear two gongs up there. Let me see what's going on. And that he was too late to like save Finn from getting like curse sorted or whatever. So that's why I kind of was like, oh, you still like, you can take that off, but like make sure you got your buddies back too. Like don't just hardcore bail and be like, oh, you want to go like extreme mountain biking down a oh yeah, cool, do that. Like I'll call you in a week. Be like, maybe I should call you like as soon as you're done and be like, did you survive?
Yeah. I mean, Finn is a fantastic adventurer. I just don't know if I would say that he is quite at the level to where he doesn't really need Jake yet. And again,
Exactly.
to what I was saying, them as a sum are far stronger than they will ever be. I think even when we see Final Finn, whatever form that is, or what speaking theoretically, whatever he is at the end of this episode, I think he will still be better off with Jake.
Yeah. Oh, constant
Probably.
theme of the show too. Like constant theme that they are so much better together, like emotionally as people and as well as adventurers too. So, man, good lessons from this one. I didn't think we'd get into some good meatiness with this, so we did, and I'm pretty proud of us.
Well, my other lesson is hula dancers got the answers. So,
and maybe my other lesson is like something about lava hula hoops is very, very boosting to your morale.
Yeah, sometimes you need a morale boost, and that's what it is, man. I've been thinking about getting one of those little hula dancers for my front.
Your dashboard on your car.
Dashboard. I've been thinking about it. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I actually caved in terms of just something that makes me smile every day for my car. I got the little Han Solo dice to put on my rearview mirror, and it makes me pretty happy. So if it's something like that, just do it, man. Just do it.
I've also noticed when I was at your house, 2 weeks ago now, that you had the big metal balls behind your car. That was fun. Didn't know you were one of those guys.
Oh yeah, guys. Oh yeah, you know me. I've got them on my car. I got them on my Crocs.
I'm just gonna start gaslighting our fans into thinking that you're just some weird dude.
I drive a Ford F-350 with big old balls on the back.
Yeah, there you go, man. I love it. Well, my rec for this episode is go on a hike and get outside. Did that this weekend with Allie. We went to a local hike spot with her dog. And man, it was fun. We were outside for so long on Sunday, and it just made for a really peaceful and joyful day. So go do that. Get outside, enjoy the sun.
I need to do that.
It's summer season.
To stop being so busy all darn weekends, and so I have a free Saturday to go do that.
Dude, you need to discover some parks around you.
I know. We went down to one in Atlanta recently, and we only got to go there for like all of 20 minutes. But I was like, I want to be here longer. This is nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Unless Ned's got a better rec or another rec, not a better rec. All recs are equal.
Yeah. My recommendation is Blanton's Whiskey barbecue this week. Yes, and Korean barbecue. It always is Korean barbecue.
No. What is your rec?
Blanton's Whiskey. I went to a very bougie wedding this last weekend. Is
that what you're drinking right now?
No, I can't afford Blanton's Whiskey.
Okay.
I went to a very bougie wedding this last weekend, and all they poured was very nice Weller and Blanton's, and poured unlimited of it, and it was phenomenal.
Okay, cool. I'm jealous. Sounds great.
And I'm jealous of last weekend Ned right now.
Last weekend Ned. Best weekend Ned.
Best weekend Ned. All right, tell us where all these lovely travelers can follow us.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for hanging out for another episode. And man, it's been good. We've had this is a couple of weeks. Y'all going to hear this after this comes out, but we had our best week ever with the podcast this week. Yes,
we hit over 400 downloads just today, which is like
wild.
Far and away our best podcasting day in over a year.
10,000 travelers on TikTok. and 1,000. We've just hit 1,000 on Instagram. I mean, I don't even know. It's just so cool. This is such a neat little community that I feel like we're actually building, especially when people are commenting and like getting involved in the comment section and the TikToks and sending in travelers log stuff. It feels really cool. And we can't thank y'all enough.
Yeah.
But you can follow us if you don't. I think you should at Never Ending Adventure Podcast on Instagram, TikTok at Never Ending Adventure Cast, Twitter at NEA_podcast. Email us at nea.travelerslog@gmail.com for any of your thoughts, opinions, episode thoughts. If you just want to ask us a personal question or try and embarrass us
You
in
want to
some
know
way.
what color Russell's undies are?
Gray. If you, sorry, great. Check us out.
No, they're gray. They're gray. Great gray.
Yeah, they're gray right now. Check us out on YouTube. You can always still give us a review, and we'll shoot you a sticker as soon as those come in. They will be sent out. And yeah, just thanks y'all so much. Every Tuesday, new episode next Tuesday. I don't know, Ned. Do you know what we're talking about?
Ooh, let me take a look. Episode 3, season 3.
We're professionals. Well, I guess we're not professionals because we're not paid for doing this. So we're volunteer podcasters.
Oh, we got a Marcy episode next week. It's gonna be a good one. Yes, we not only get a Marcy episode, we get a little bit of Marcy and her past coming in to play. Which, building Marcy canon is so fun.
Man, I got my sexy character of next week already planned.
I'm not sure. You might have it. You might. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, depending. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Y'all, party forever.
Love you guys.